For this episode, we want to give a shout out to Ben with Creefall Bagel Company. Creefall Bagel Company is boiling and baking fresh sourdough bagels every morning. They're located in Creefall at 4825 Trousdale Drive, Suite 228. Go check them out. Welcome to another episode of the Nashville Dads. For this episode, we have on Scott Murphy. We talk about his time in the military, being a veteran, his experience with IVF, and parenting a child on the spectrum. Murph feels like he could probably write a book filled with his adventures and his experiences, and we're happy that he shared some of them with us. We really hope you enjoy the episode.
When my grandparents met, my grandfather was he was a World War II B-25 pilot.
Oh, man.
And he did 39 missions, and he was done. And they brought him back. And he was such a good pilot, they were like, hey, you know, we still have a job for you. Would you like to ferry bombers from Sioux City, Iowa, where they would finish them, up here to New York, where we put them on the boat, and he was like, absolutely. So he was ferrying bombers.
That is so cool.
And my grandmother was a Rosie the Riveter.
Oh, cool.
And she rose up rose up the ranks and basically became an officer within the I forget what it's called, like the WAP or whatever it is. So she was a big shot. Wow. My grandfather had brought a bomber back because there was some problems with it, and my grandmother was out on the flight line, and she was like waving at him like, shut it down, because he was like, you know, back then it was like women, he was like,
yeah,
can't hear you, what? My grandmother, she pulled our overalls down, and she had a badge on the inside, and it's basically like they all could see, like, oh, I'm supposed to listen.
Yeah.
And she shows it to him, and he's like, oh shit,
oh, I messed up,
because they can revoke your, like, they have the power to be like, you're no longer flying. So he was like, oh, sorry. And he got down, and he came over to her, and he was hat in hand, like, I'm so sorry.
That one's on me.
Yeah, and that's how they met.
What a cool story.
Cool. Yeah.
Where are you originally from?
I grew up in a military family, so kind of all over the place, but I say that I'm from South Dakota because I primarily grew up in South Dakota with my grandparents.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, when my parents divorced when I was 1.
Oh, okay.
My mom was in the Air Force. She was a combat evaluator, so we would go someplace, and she would, in the Air Force, and she would go to the squadron. Okay, we're at war. Go. Mm-hmm. How long does it take you to muster everything logistics-wise to move from point A to point B? And if they failed, we would stay and until they fixed the problem. If they passed, then we would move on. But I never finished a school year wherever we got transferred. So I always would end up transferring back to South Dakota to finish out my school year or whatever, and I really made my core friends there.
Okay.
Whenever I'd go and live with my mom again, the very first day of school, I would go to the playground, I'd find the biggest kid, and I'd fight him.
Yeah?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And I never lost, because I was always more of a shock that all of a sudden the new kid just comes up to the big kid and just starts pounding on him.
Yeah.
And I would just turn around and be like, anybody else?
Yeah.
And I didn't make any friends because I didn't want to.
Okay.
Because I knew I was leaving. And all the friends that I'm like, and it was weird thinking about it now, like, wow, what a psychological trip.
Yeah.
Because I'd get back to South Dakota, totally fine.
Yeah.
And my mom be like, dude, and my grandma be like, he doesn't act that way
He
here.
doesn't find anyone here.
No.
Yeah.
He doesn't act that way here. But I was also very unsupervised.
Sure.
My mom was in the Air Force. She was gone. I was the generation of the latchkey kids. These days, no way.
No.
Yeah.
That ain't happening no more.
And how old are you?
Now?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm almost 54.
Okay. 54. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when being a latchkey kid, I was unsupervised, but back in South Dakota, very supervised.
Okay.
So, and I think it is definitely like helped me today. And especially like coming to the decision of retiring to raise my son.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know, not, I don't know. Sometimes I see parents these days and they're not with their children enough.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just my personal observation.
Yeah, of course.
But like my wife, she loves her job, but she spends a cumulative about 4 hours a day with our son,
Mm-hmm.
couple in the morning and then maybe a couple at night. Now weekends, it's great because she's like, I'm all in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I kind of get a little break.
Yeah.
But yeah, growing up in South Dakota it was awesome.
Yeah.
Okay.
I loved it. I mean, it was very outdoors. Like grandfather was very outdoors. Like, again, I think I'm one of the last generations that didn't grow up with a screen in front of your face all the time.
Yeah,
or
you
video games
You didn't
or whatever.
have Game Boy.
We had
I guess
Atari.
Atari. Yeah, I was gonna say Atari was
Which
probably
was boring after like 5 minutes.
Pong or Frogger.
Pong.
Pong was my very first video game. I remember my grandfather got it for Christmas, and man, the whole family just book, 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 book.
Yeah.
Now I look at video games these days, and I'm just like, wow.
Yeah.
Man, yeah, I thought I was still cool,
No.
but I can't play any of those games at all.
Nope.
I'm
No
like that
Fortnite,
old
no
person
Minecraft.
that I'm just going around in circles and I'm not doing anything.
It's like, okay, you jump out of the helicopter, but I already got killed. Yeah, you didn't jump at the right spot. How's I supposed to know where the
Yeah.
right spot to jump was? You guys didn't tell me. Yeah. Nope, we've already reached that age.
Yep, we're
So.
getting old. But back to your story. How many years ago did you retire?
7
7
years ago.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So you retired real early, but that's awesome.
Yeah, it was. The decision was basically like, okay, we're going to have a child. And I started asking my friends, okay, new dads especially. It's like,
Yeah.
okay, what's up? Give me the scoop. And what I found mostly was like money was such it's like, oh, dude, you've got no money anymore. You've got no money. I'm like, what, why? They're like, oh, dude, between daycare and I was like, daycare. They're like, oh, and it was anywhere between 28 to 35,000 a year for daycare.
Yep.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
And I just couldn't justify working a full-time job just to have somebody else watch my child.
Yeah.
Not me. No. So my wife and I talked, and she's 12 years younger than me, so she absolutely loves her job.
Yeah.
She's an agent, loves her job. And I was a tour manager and was thinking about transitioning into management, had a couple offers, and I was just like, you know what? No. Because especially in this industry, it's 24/7 in the music industry.
There's no breaks.
It's 24/7. You're answering calls at 3:00 in the morning.
Oh,
Could be
geez.
international, could be whatever. But and we just decided we're doing good enough. Everything that I made in my tour managing, we like put away, invested. So we were in a good place.
Smart.
Wow. Lucky.
Yeah.
Lucky would be the better word, especially in this day and age. And that's the one thing in my life that I've always put faith in is that God or the gods will show you the path.
Yeah.
Just be open when they're showing you something.
Yeah.
And I put a lot of faith in that. And I have since I was a kid. My grandfather was a very a big pillar of my life. I was very lucky to have him. He taught me all these small lessons.
Yeah,
And one
of course.
lesson that he taught me in particular was, if nobody died, who cares? We can fix it.
Sure.
And I got
Yeah.
that lesson he would take me to the country club after work, all his buddies and salesman buddies, and he'd get me a little ginger ale and a rocks glass so I could look cool.
Yeah.
And one of his salesmen came in just freaked out. It kind of freaked me out being 6 years old. And my grandfather was like, hey, just take a breath. What happened? He was like, hey, did anybody die? And he was like, whoa, no. And he goes, so then I can fix it.
Yeah.
I can fix anything but death.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can undo.
Right.
Yeah.
And he looked down at me, and I remember, and he said, remember that, Scotty. As long as nobody died, who cares?
Mm-hmm.
And it always stuck with me.
Yeah.
I always said that I've said that quite a few times in my life, actually. And people come
We're
up
still
to me.
breathing. We're still alive.
Right.
We got room to work with.
Right.
Yeah.
In being in the service, I remember,
Yeah.
oh my God, Murph, this. I'm like, is he dead?
Is he dead?
Yeah.
He's like, well, no. I'm like, okay, cool. I can fix
Yeah.
it. I can work with
Yeah.
that as long as he isn't dead.
Yeah. What'd you do in the service? Like what branch were you in?
Army.
Army? Cool.
Yeah.
What role or position did you have with it?
I was a 68 Whiskey, which is a combat medic.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I went in as baseline infantry, and my uncle, it's actually kind of a funny story. My uncle, he was a high up
Okay.
in the Pentagon, worked
Oh.
in the Pentagon, was an officer. When I came time to thinking about joining the service, and look, I grew up in a military family, both sides of my family.
Okay.
Grandparents, grandfather was a bomber pilot. Grandmother was Rosie the Riveter. My other grandfather was a Seabee. My father was a helicopter pilot in Vietnam.
Oh, cool.
Some familiarity there.
Yeah. We had this wall, and it was called the War of Fame. The Wall of Fame was the family, and it was all the pictures of everybody. So I grew up like, I can't wait to put my picture on that
Absolutely.
on that
Yeah.
wall. Boy, not really something you want to strive for, but
Sure.
it's a different time then too.
Yeah.
So my uncle was like, all right, you sign a 4-year, I will mold your career. And then at the end of that 4, you sign a 10, I'll sponsor you to OCS, become an officer. You'll come work for me here in Washington as my liaison. And then when I retire, you'll take my job.
Oh, wow.
Here's your career path. Here's your
Yeah.
next 20 years of life.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And nepotism is real in the military, trust me. If you're the son or the uncle or the nephew or whatever, you'll go far.
You're good.
You'll do real good. So I went in just baseline infantry so he could mold my career. And then 4 months later, he was like, okay, now you're going to be a combat medic. I was like, okay, cool, great. So he sent me to Fort Sam Houston, and I spent time there learning to be a medic. And then after that, went to airborne school. And then after that, went to air assault school. And career took off. And very shortly after that, I saw my first combat action in Panama.
Okay.
Panama.
Yeah. It was just a saber rattling. It wasn't a real war. It was, we're going to go down and get a drug dealer. That's
Oh,
it.
okay.
Yeah, we went down to got Noriega. That was it. That was the mission.
Fascinating.
Whoa,
Yeah.
that is so cool. You were a part of it.
Yeah, I was a fresh-faced bubblegum chewing kid. Scared out of my mind.
I bet you were. That is so cool. That was kind of my path as well. My grandparents all were in the military. My mom was in the Marines. My dad was in the Navy. They met in Quantico, and I wanted to be in the military as well, but I had asthma. Whoop!
Yeah.
Immediately, they were like, "Nope,
Nope.
not even going to look at you. Not even going to ask any more questions."
Yeah.
You could apply today.
Really?
They're so short on
Okay.
On their recruitment mission goals.
Okay.
So
Wow.
short.
Well, I don't think they'll take a 39-year-old now.
I don't know.
Never know.
No.
There's roles for everyone.
There are. They're hard.
But no, yeah, that was. I mean, having that asthma, it was kind of heartbreaking, but everything worked out
Yeah.
for me for the best, I think.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But yeah,
My wife.
I remember getting laughed at by the recruit after that.
Oh, did you really?
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
They're like, you have asthma? And they're like, what are you doing
Yeah,
here, man?
they're like, no.
What are you doing?
They're like, no.
Just go home.
Exactly. That was the kind of attitude that
You
they
were
had.
Steve Rogers in the first Captain America movie.
I guess so.
before that.
Yes, I kind of was. I was 125 pounds. Yeah.
Scrawny little Justin
I
being
was
like, can I
scrawny.
help?
Yeah.
I
But I
can-
wanted to be.
I
course.
can absolutely relate to that. I went in 150 and within just a few months I was 175.
Oh, wow.
Well, I mean, back then there's nothing to do but work out.
Yeah.
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 It's not like today.
Yeah.
It's not like today.
No distractions. You used to do push-ups. Because, like, do you want to do more push-ups? I guess. Let's do
Yeah.
this now. Like,
Oh, yeah. I mean, bases today, it looks like college.
Yeah, I was
It's
going to say
crazy.
they like have video games. And,
Video games, TVs, and
Yeah.
oh my God, if we were even caught watching TV.
Yeah. So it's not
Our
Full Metal
first-
Jacket anymore?
No, it's definitely not. Jeez, if we'd have been caught watching TV, our first sergeant would have
Yeah.
drilled us into the ground.
Yeah.
And now I walk, I'm like, what the? And there's Burger Kings and all sorts of crap.
Yeah.
I'm like,
It's like an actual
what's going
cafeteria.
on?
Yeah.
yeah.
Do you keep up with, do you have many military contacts still? I know you do stuff with creative vets every once in a while, or you at least donate some guitars for them.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
I absolutely do.
Cool.
And it's something that I've definitely taken up since retiring.
Yeah.
And also to just how much times have changed and also seeing how veterans are treated, not by the general public. My God, we're great,
Yeah.
but by our own government.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that we have to go up to Washington and beg for money,
Yeah.
you know. So we're just looking for $2.8 million to put into this research into psychotropic drugs and if they help veterans.
Yeah. To help
because
PTSD, help all this stuff.
because we've had success with
Yeah.
this, and hours, you sit there in a hall
Yeah.
waiting, and then you go and you sit and you testify, and they're so sympathetic. Thank you so much for your
Yeah.
time, and at the end they're like, "We'll get back to you."
Mm-hmm.
And then 15 minutes later, they're cutting a $15 billion check to another country.
Yeah.
Over 50,000 veterans that are homeless. And whether that's through their own design or just through circumstance,
Yeah.
but they need help.
Yeah.
You have 22 veterans on average that kill themselves
Yeah.
every day.
Yeah.
That's
Where's the
insane.
national health crisis in
Yeah.
that?
Yeah.
Where are the students protesting that?
I gotcha. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Where were the students protesting for 20 years while American men and servicewomen came home in boxes and pieces?
Yeah.
It breaks my heart
Yeah.
to
And
see it.
did you serve in Iraq? Did you, or do a tour in Iraq is what I mean?
I did. We call it Gulf War One.
Go for it. Okay, sorry.
The
Yeah.
first one.
Round one. Okay,
Yeah,
cool.
yeah.
The first bush, not the second bush.
Right.
Yeah, yeah.
I actually referred to it as the cakewalk.
Oh yeah, because it was.
Yeah, because nothing really happened, right?
Well, I mean, we sat there and watched the Air Force guys bomb them into oblivion.
Yeah.
And then we went in
Yeah.
to the craters.
Yeah.
These guys these days, these GWAT guys, man, I can't imagine what they went through. And I have a lot of close friends that are GWAT veterans, and to hear their stories, I'm just like, whew, man, I didn't have anything like that.
Yeah. Yeah. You're more sad in a base, and we're like, they might need me later. Versus.
Well, I was part of a long-range reconnaissance team, and this was before drones.
Oh
yeah.
yeah. Because this would have been like 90, 91 or so.
Right.
Around then. Okay.
Yeah. So we didn't have drones. We had satellites.
Yeah.
But it's like satellites came over and like, well, we have a 2-hour window and now it's
Yeah.
gone.
Yeah.
Now you guys are back on.
Mm-hmm.
But we had a really cool job. Like we'd set these cameras, we'd put it in the satellite system, and you could see like, oh, this is getting pumped right into the White House ready room.
Yeah.
Like president could be watching this. pretty cool.
That's crazy. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's put a sign up there like, we'd like to come home. But we give them real-time info that way. We would laze targets, old school way. We had laser designators. And
Fascinating.
that would go to the satellite, and satellite would feed it to an AWACS, and AWACS would feed it to an F-16, and F-16
That's
drop its bomb from 50,000 feet.
Yeah.
And we would just look and be like, 3, 2, 1.
There it was.
It's over.
That is sweet.
Yeah, not like these days. These guys and these drones.
Yeah.
Man.
It's
You're in America, so on American soil probably, and flying a drone.
Crazy.
yeah. Did you do? If I can ask, did you do IVF for your kid?
We did.
Yeah.
We did. And the one
If you're willing to talk about it. Some people are.
oh, no,
sometimes
absolutely.
it's a little too personal to discuss IVF. So if you're willing to discuss it, just how's your process with all that?
Absolutely. I retired 7 years ago.
Yeah.
But our son is 4.5.
Yeah.
Because we tried for an entire year, and boy, if I can part one, if you're having trouble, just go straight to IVF.
Okay.
Just go straight to it. In my experience, and this is just my opinion, but trying to do the scheduled fun time,
Yeah.
it becomes a job, and then.
Not fun.
No, not fun. Definitely not fun. Definitely like
Add some pressures in an area of your life that's supposed to be intimate and connecting.
Right.
And suddenly you're like, well, we either do this today or we missed our window. And you're like, oh, we have a very busy day. I'm not mentally okay. Here we go.
She's ripping your clothes off.
Hold on, give me a second.
but I mean, watch right in the middle of a football game, like, and all of a sudden from the honey. The temperature's get in here. I'm like, oh.
All right.
Okay.
Here we go. All right, we'll figure it out.
She's like, I'll put the game on in here.
Oh, wow. Hey.
That's so much better.
So nice of you.
But and then the next phase was her taking these hormone drugs. And
to be more fertile.
Oh boy. Yeah.
Messed with her mind a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. And I love my wife. She was the first one to it would just be something small and I would say something and she would just tear my head off. But she would just immediately afterwards, I'm so sorry. It's not me. It's the drugs. And that was a nightmare.
Yeah.
That was a nightmare. Mixed with the schedule and things like that. And then IVF, that was interesting too. But poor thing, having to take these drugs all the time. And hats off to all the women that have gone through this, and all the men that have helped them with that too, because having to take these drugs at the most inopportune times. I mean, we'd be at dinner and Carrie would kick me under the table. I'd be like, "Oh, hey, we'll be right back. We're gonna go to the bathroom."
So you could take drugs?
So, exactly. So my wife could bend over the toilet and I could inject her in the butt.
I was actually going to ask, like, what kind of, is it just a pen that you just inject?
It's a pen, and much like a ballpoint pen, like you
like
a plunger,
kind of.
Okay, it's not pressure. Like your pressure is the thumb.
Oh, okay, cool.
So there's a canister that goes in the top of the pen, and it screws in, and then you depress it once, bring it back out, and then next time go around, depress it again.
Okay.
And how many times a day?
That was 3 times a day.
Oh, wow.
Morning, middle, and then night. And then I'm trying to remember if you did it more as you got up to it. No, I can't remember. But it was a lot better than everything else.
Yeah.
And just the time.
What was the time frame on that? I'm very curious.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So it was 3 months of prep.
Okay.
Okay. Of like basically getting her body like hormones ready.
Just like
calibrated, I guess.
Well, let's make as many eggs as we can and get them all out
before you harvest.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And we got really lucky compared to a lot of people.
Yeah. It can be a very long process.
Yeah, and I believe the average is 4 eggs per harvest.
Okay.
The people that's the average, and we got 14.
Oh, cool.
Wow.
And 12 were what they call viable.
Yeah.
The others weren't genetically up to their standards or whatever. And then of those 12, 10 were successfully fertilized.
Yeah. And became embryos.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And then they genetically test those, and you're like, oh, this one's 99.7%
viable,
perfect, or whatever. You're like, okay. And so now you have these, now you can choose. And you also had sex.
Yeah.
Sex. You know what
gender,
it is.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that was great, honestly, because, well, I say great because I was like, okay, great. I get to choose a boy first.
Your work in this process is very different than your wife's.
Oh, for sure. She was like, oh, no.
Yeah.
And I was like, honey, please. And she
Yeah.
was like, well, give me one good reason. I was like, if you want me to live 10 extra years, you'll give me a boy first. Because we knew we were going to have 2. And I was just like, babe, please, like he can watch over her while I'm not there, because I'm I'm very protective person. And she was like, okay, fair enough. Unfortunately, her pregnancy it was very dangerous for her.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
very. It put her in the hospital.
Oh, wow.
And we ended up premature.
Okay.
But thankfully, like our doctor was like, hey, I want to give a steroid shot, and because he was concerned that, or she was concerned that we might have a premature pregnancy as well.
Yeah.
So he wanted to give Carrie a steroid shot, and that would help speed up the process of the production of the baby's lungs.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
And
So that if you were premature,
right.
yeah, okay.
And we are really glad that we did that. Really glad that we did that.
Because I'm assuming if you do IVF, it's usually considered like doctors are much more involved than they normally would be. Like,
Absolutely.
you're probably going to the doctor like once or twice a month, whereas like I feel like whenever my wife was pregnant, I was like, do we have a 3-month check-in? Is it next month or something like that? Where I feel like if you do IVF, you're definitely under the care of a physician where they have metrics and making sure everything's on track.
Yeah, absolutely. And we were really fortunate. Our doctor, just amazing, and monitored her blood pressure a lot.
Yeah.
Did she have preeclampsia? Or?
Correct. Yep.
Okay.
And
Look at us almost sounding like we know what we're talking about.
better than me. I have put a lot of that out of my mind.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a dangerous thing.
It scared me. It scared me to death. And for everybody involved. And man, these days, I can't even imagine the anxiety that goes with that.
Yeah.
But we were lucky, and we had a beautiful little boy. And he spent 10 days in the NICU, and got out of there. And
I mean, that's pretty quick turnaround in the NICU.
Yeah,
Usually NICU, it's months, if not
Yeah,
years.
it can be very different situations.
it can be very different, and that's why I say too, like we were really glad that we did that steroid shot, because there was a premature baby right next to our station, born the same exact day, same exact conditions, but they didn't get the steroid shot, and you could hear the machine constantly pulling fluid out of his lungs.
Yeah.
It was sad.
Yeah.
It was very sad. But yeah, he was a fighter from day one. And just like, I'm done with this. Let's go.
Yeah.
And that was a scary day.
Yeah.
I bet it was.
Well, I mean,
Because your wife was probably still on the bed, and did they have to take your boy to the NICU right away, or
they did. I went down. Yeah. I went down with him, and
so you didn't really get to enjoy too much. It sounds.
It was that whole 48 hours because we had gone in just for a checkup. Actually,
oh really?
Yeah, we had gone in just for a checkup, and the doc was like,
"It's go time.
Blood pressure.
Okay,
yeah,
I'm gonna call. I mean,
don't be alarmed, but a lot more people are about to come in the room."
Yeah.
Yeah, she was like, okay, let me make a phone call. She called over the hospital. I was like, yeah, we're putting her in right now.
Yeah.
And I was like, hit me like a ton of bricks. I was like, so we're going to go home and I'm going to get, and she was like, oh, no. We're going right now.
We're going right now. Yeah.
And I was like, oh.
This day is very different.
This is a little more urgent than I thought it was going to be. Okay, let's do this.
How high was her blood pressure? Was it like just off the charts?
It was jacked.
Yeah.
Jeez.
And being medic, I was like, well, I looked over the machine, and the first thing you learn as a medic is not to freak out.
Yeah.
You know, I'll walk up on somebody and be like, oh my God. Oh, dude.
Is that supposed to be a leg?
Is it that bad?
Yeah, literally the first words you learn are, you're going to be okay. That's what you say.
Yeah.
And it's literally, I turned to my wife and said, you're going to be okay.
You're going to be okay.
You're going to be okay. But I understood the urgency, like, okay, let's go.
Yeah.
Let's go. But they took great care of her. Everything came back down under her much better.
Yeah.
We went in. He was born C-section.
Yeah.
And because I've got my video camera, and our one doctor, she had an assistant come in and help, and he was like, are you gonna be okay? And she was like, oh, he's a medic, he's fine. I'm like, oh my God, babe, you should see this. There's your fat layer. She's like, shut up. Because I always find it amazing.
Yeah.
The human body is awesome.
They wouldn't let me look over the
tarp.
Oh, did you have a C-section? Or?
Yeah, we had a scheduled C-section, and they wouldn't let me.
Really?
Oh.
Yeah, they wouldn't let me look over. They had to hold the baby up so that I could see. But yeah, and I wasn't able to videotape until after the birth.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, I could show you a great video of ours. Like, if you've ever seen the movie Alien,
I would have looked over.
Yeah, it much like that. They just
I bet
come right out. I was like, there he is.
Yeah,
I was like,
but I also
amazing.
It was also during COVID.
So
I had to wear a mask, and it was probably maybe because of the infection of getting into her open wound or something like that. I don't know, but yeah, they were a lot stricter than you for sure.
We got so lucky. He was born literally 2 months before COVID took hold.
Is he a 2020 or 2019 baby?
He's a 2019 baby.
Okay, cool. So you snuck him in at the finish line.
Yeah. And I mean, there you go. Silver lining, we got to spend our entire first year every single day at home with him, both of us. It was, I'm really thankful for that. Like, if there's one thing to be thankful for COVID, that's it.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I think I remember, because how we met is you came on Dad Walks and started connected with you then. I feel like I remember one of the stories you told me about a definite marker in your head of why you want to make sure to stay home. Also, it was you were like working a gig or something, and like a sound engineer or someone was like, yeah, daughter's graduating today. And you were like, why aren't you there? And she's like, man, I've missed him before. She won't mind this one. And you were like,
oh, Jesus.
That's not reality.
Yeah.
That's not good.
Absolutely.
So the tour managing life also, I feel like that was your reality. Looking, if you wanted to become a father, your reality was probably being on the road, watching your kid have milestones that you would miss.
Absolutely.
and then being like, man, it's part of the gig.
Right. That struck me because he's one of the older PMs, and we were just standing there watching the show, and he looks at his watch. I'm like, "What? You're on time?" He's like, "Oh no, daughter's graduating college right now." I was like, "Buddy, what are you doing here?" He's like, I missed high school. She don't care." And I was just like, I don't want that attitude. No, I don't want that attitude.
My dad was not around a lot because of work and because of the Navy, but when he was down in Jacksonville during the Afghan war, he took over for somebody who went to Afghanistan. They actually let him come back up for my graduation. So I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, because it's a big moment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But man, I'd be devastated.
Yeah.
Right? Right.
Yeah.
And that's what I thought too. He's like, she doesn't care. And I was like, I bet she does care.
Did you ask her?
Right. I bet you she does care.
Almighty.
Like, even if she, like, Dad, don't worry about it. Like, no.
She cares. There's part of her that's hurt.
Of course.
Yeah, definitely.
It's almost worse because she now anticipates you not to be there for the big moments of her life.
Right.
She's now desensitized that you aren't physically present.
Right.
That's not good.
I almost want to be like, so if she got married and it would happen to be like, are you going to tell her to not schedule it during a tour, or
you're just going to be like, man, someone else can walk her down the aisle. Let it be fine.
Sounds like it.
I'm just like, no, I can't do that. And I'm not one to judge.
Is what it is.
Who am I to judge?
Good for you to realize that was the path that you could possibly go down.
Right. And ironically enough, it was on a weekend that I was supposed to be thinking about this.
Oh, really?
That my wife and I were talking. She was like, well, let's think about it.
Yeah.
You think about it.
Go out on the road, see how you feel. Let's make sure we think through this logically.
Because I did love being a tour manager and seeing the world. Well, I say seeing the world. Most of the time, tour managers see the inside of a bus, the inside of a plane, and the inside.
It's a great venue,
great
venue. Green room.
Yeah. I can tell you verbatim like all the great venues in America and the cons and pros.
Yeah,
but not the local hangout.
Yeah, no local restaurants unless maybe they catered.
Right,
that's about it. Now it seems like. Regardless if it's intentional or not, you've chosen a lot of paths where, like, if there's chaos, you know how to be, at least appear on the outside to be a calming force in a lot of chaos. Because military service, I feel like, especially as a medic, you're like, oh, this is very bad, but I have to make you believe that we're going to be okay.
Yeah.
Tour manager, oh, everything just fell through, but we're going to be okay. It's like an inherent belief of, like, we're going to be good, which would make sense if your grandpa was very much like, are you still alive? You still breathing? We're good. We got this.
Yeah.
So that's cool.
Yeah. Tour managing was, I fell into tour managing. I came out here working on social media.
Yeah, like MySpace, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's so funny.
Really? MySpace?
Yeah.
Woo! It was 2009.
Yeah.
That's before Facebook had really grabbed hold.
It was Facebook.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And I had came from working at MTV.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah, and that was in our meetings, like, this is the next big thing, social media. Learn that term. You're like, okay. And yeah, it worked.
They were right.
Yeah. Like, oh my goodness.
Pretty big.
Yeah. Knowing what I know now.
Yeah. Do you, does your son go to school? What's your stay-at-home dad life like?
Stay-at-home dad life. So our son, he's on the spectrum.
Mm-hmm.
He has autism, and he's 4 and change. He gets up normally around 6:30, and my wife goes in and hangs out with him for a while. And then he goes to a school/therapy.
Mm-hmm.
It's called Autism ETC.
Yeah.
Oh, I saw one that's over by Opry.
Yeah, that's it.
Cool.
And
so that might be why.
Oh, yeah, you're
to
right
go
next
to Opry.
Then. That makes a ton of sense.
Yeah, totally. So it's French fries at McDonald's.
Ooh, yeah.
Okay.
And then off to the mall or for a drive.
Cool.
And he'll go to school. I pick him up around 2:30, and then we do our day. That may involve the park. It may involve the mall. It may involve a walk down on the Greenway.
Mm-hmm.
He loves Shelby Park. He loves to be outside,
Cool.
except if it's raining.
Yeah.
I'd be like, Dad, it's raining. Let's go to the mall. Let's go to the mall. 4.5, he already knows, like, all right, well, there's the mall or outside.
Yeah.
And then around 6:30, Mom comes home and tags in, and she's good to go. It's funny how notice this in a lot of children. It's like when Mom comes home, Dad is no longer in existence.
Don't exist.
Yeah.
Without question. Yep. It's like they've been waiting all day, like, oh, thank God. Finally, you're here.
Yeah, and he has this internal clock now, too. Like, he just knows, and all of a sudden he'll just turn to me and goes, she's coming. And I'm like, yep, Mom's coming. You're right. And she rolls into the driveway. His face lights up. Mama.
That's sweet.
It is sweet. It's bittersweet.
Yeah.
You're like, what have I been?
Come on, man. We just chilled for like 4 hours. Like, come on.
But I also get that when he comes out from school, like his face lights up, or when I go every other week for parent training. So you get to go and observe and see like how well he's doing at school, and also try and emulate what they're doing at school and bring it home. I think more schools need to do that.
Yeah.
As just a matter of principle. Instead of just like shoveling your kids off and like, okay, go learn.
Yeah.
You going and seeing and observing. And being like,
that's pretty
okay,
cool.
This is what your day is like.
Yeah, of course.
Because what's funny is, and he crushes it at school. Just crushes it. And then they'll give me tools like, okay, this is what I'm like, okay, yeah, no problem. Then I bring it home, and like on a weekend, I'm like, okay, buddy, remember what we did at school? And he'll look at me like, are you crazy? I do this for 6 hours a day. I don't need to come home and do it here.
That's awesome.
And I'm just, you know what, buddy? You're right. You're absolutely right. And I'm glad you're advocating for yourself, because this is how it should be. This is how I remember well. Like, it's so funny, like when you think about, I mean, I shouldn't even be here. Like, I should be dead of all the crazy things that we did as kids.
Yeah.
I mean, my grandparents would kick me out and be like, don't come home until we turn the light on.
Yeah.
You know? And all the craziness that we did. I don't know that I could do that with my son these days.
Yeah.
The world is a different place.
Who are we talking to? Last week.
You're all 5 of your friends?
No. It was either Wednesday or Thursday.
Matt? Braden?
Maybe. He was talking about the statistics of kidnappings and everything like that. Actually, because of social media, makes it seems like it's a lot more prevalent.
Oh, yeah, he was saying,
really
like, hey,
isn't.
your kids are a lot safer than you
Yeah.
think. No one's sitting out there outside your house in a car parked waiting to kidnap your kid. Like,
I thought the same thing, but then, like, the statistics don't lie. But
yeah. It's
it's
a lot easier to believe a narrative that there's a lot more danger out there than there really is. But you only also need one example of someone getting hurt for you to be like, oh, I was naive. So that's the other thing.
See, I was right.
Yeah, exactly. No, it's the self-fulfilling prophecy of like, well, the one time I didn't do this happened.
Yeah.
So clearly, and it's like, well, actually, it happened like 500 times, and this is the one time it happened. So if you want to go off stats, it's not actually that narrative.
For me, it's not so much, it's more dangerous. It's that society doesn't seem to care.
But culturally, we're not set up in which that action of like, hey, ride your bike down here, go do this or whatever, is actually not acceptable, but normalized.
Right. And also the things like a tragedy has happened. Somebody needs help, and there's 90 people standing around with their phones open.
Yeah.
I'll videotape it.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Those are the things that scare me.
Gotcha. Like
Those are the
culturally,
things.
what could be happening that everyone is a bystander,
Right.
as tragedy happens.
Right. And my son,
Yeah.
he's on the spectrum.
Yeah.
I'm witnessing more and more of, if you're less than perfect, or if you are different than the norm,
Mm-hmm.
you know, it can not be good.
Yeah.
And
Familiarity is one of my favorite things to just be familiar with. Haha. So like, yeah, if your son like if he needs, I'm trying to think of the best way to put this. I'm a big fan of the Decemberists. One of their lead singer's sons is autistic, and there was a time in which they went on an airplane and they got separated. And the entire time he was like, okay, so if it starts to escalate, here's how he calms down. Here's all of his calm down techniques. If I'm not physically with him, next to him, then then this all turns into a bad situation. But because you guys don't have any familiarity with how he views the world, and likewise. So like with your son, I'm sure you're like, this is how Corbin interprets the world, and I know how this works. And if you guys don't know how he interprets the world, how do I know he's safe? How do I know he's respected? How do I know he's actually cared for?
Right.
And will people have the curiosity to learn what feels safe to him, or will they just put expectations on him that he has no opportunity to meet?
right. But I also every day see examples that I'm wrong.
Which is great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we were at the mall the other day, and there was an older couple, and the gentleman looked a lot like his grandfather.
Yeah.
And he tore off of me and ran right over and was like, "Papa,"
Aww.
and like jumped into his arms. And I was just like, I'm
sorry.
I'm so sorry. And they were just like They were like, "We haven't heard that in so long. He can stay with us as long as he wants."
That's awesome. Yeah.
And I was like, "Buddy, this isn't Papa." And he looked back and he just went, "Hi." And
That's awesome.
it was beautiful. And It was a beautiful moment. But is everybody going to act like that?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Yeah.
I mean, to go to the other side of the coin, I was at Shelby Park, and Corbin was playing in the sand, and this woman, she said, is your son autistic? And I was like, "Wow, he is on the spectrum. You noticed." And she goes, "Can I ask you something? Did he get vaccines?"
Oh, Jesus. Really?
And I was just like, and I knew it was going to come. You know, with all the talk and things like that. And I was just like, that's a very good question.
Mm-hmm.
What I can tell you from my experience is that our son exhibited signs of autism well before his vaccines.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, no. No, we got vaccines.
However,
After
yeah.
he got autism.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know?
That's a good way to say it. And get her to
I find it
de-escalate.
hilarious how many moments in parenthood and adulthood someone asks you a question and you're like, you cannot react honestly to this moment. You have to take a breath and go, all right, this is a person. Don't shame them. Even though your first instinct is to be like, what the hell did you just say to me?
Right. And as protective as I am, I mean, my wife, thankfully, she has been there sometimes for some things, because she's just like grabbed my wrist because I'm getting ready to
Respond honestly.
Right. And that's another thing I have to say is being a father that has helped me tremendously with that self-control.
Yeah.
Especially when you want to launch your kid into the sun.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay.
Yep.
All right, buddy.
Yeah. But like, it's helped absolutely with communication. And the one thing that I have found that has helped me with my son is getting down to his level.
Yep.
Not lording over him, not looking down on him and him but getting down on my knees and like, hey, buddy, look at me.
Yeah.
Let's talk about this for a second. You know, who cares who's around? They don't matter. Just you and me.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Let's just talk about this. And I think that if we did more of that, it'd go a lot further.
Yeah.
And especially in things like people talking about him. I've listened to a lot of like other autistic people, what do you call it? High functioning
Yeah.
people with autism. And the one thing that always struck me was like, I wish they didn't talk about me in third person when I'm standing right there.
Yeah.
Because I'm right there.
I'm a human.
Right.
I'm part of the conversation.
Right. And you're talking to me like I'm
an other.
That's the thing.
Right. I have problems.
Yeah.
And always stuck with me. So, and I've caught myself talking about it, and he's standing, I'm like, buddy, I'm so sorry. And I'll get down. I'm like, we're talking about you right now. Okay. And he'll look at me and be like, oh, okay. But I let him know that.
Yeah.
But I didn't have I've never had a child before, so I don't know any different than just him. And I have a godson and came up with him, but they're very similar. In a lot of
That's
ways.
cool.
I mean, I can't believe my son's aptitude with his iPad and things like that. Spotify, he makes playlists. I don't even know how to make a playlist. I mean, I know how to I like that.
I
mean, add
Thumbs
it to
up.
my
He's 4 years old and he can already do that. Wow.
Oh, and they're okay, I like rap. And here's
he has
Nice.
catered,
He's got some
customized
yes.
playlists.
Yeah, I'm like, dude.
Morgan's afternoon mix.
Yeah, but now he's gotten off of music and now it's all Dougie. All Dougie.
What's
the
Dougie?
dog
Dougie, yes.
from Up. Yeah.
No.
Oh.
Dougie is this.
That's Doug.
Oh, Doug.
Not Dougie.
Sorry.
Dougie and the Squirrels.
Dougie and the Squirrels.
Oh, I guarantee there's some listeners that are like, "Oh my god, I totally."
What show?
It's from BBC.
okay.
He loves BBC stuff, which is kind of funny because he's picked up a British accent.
That's amazing.
On some of his words. We just posted a video the other day, and he was like, "I'm catching the water." I'm like, "What are you doing, buddy?" Water.
Walter.
And I'm like, "Oh, buddy, that's gonna go really well in school, pal.
That's awesome.
Keep that. Mix that too. You'll be really good." And he's teaching himself Spanish.
Seriously?
Oh, wow.
I'm not joking.
Cool.
He had this word app that he loves, and then there was a Spanish app. He was like, "Dada, download." And I'm like, "Buddy, it's Spanish." And he's like, "Dada, download." And I was like,
Trust me, man.
"All right," because the whole iPad, the screens.
Yeah.
I am one of those parents like, no, I'm not gonna be one of these kids, or I'm not gonna be one of these parents who just lets their kids sit on their phones,
Sit on
all
the
time.
screen.
Yeah, the whole time. But you see, just go on a road trip, pass a family in a van.
Yeah.
Everybody is on their phone,
Yeah.
not talking, just all on their phones. It's not what I did growing up, but I mean, it's a different time.
Yeah.
But anyway, and I was like, oh no, because he loves the iPad. But also read these doctors, these psychologists and everything, as long as they're not droning, as long as they're learning something. Now, I'm saying this in with my son being on the spectrum.
Yeah.
And he absorbs
That's awesome.
knowledge that way. Like, hey, buddy, what's Spanish word for grande or big? Grande. I was like, that's my boy. What's Spanish word for friend? Amigo.
Yeah.
Like, buddy.
It's different than what'd you do? I just stared at consumption, I guess, is the other way to put it. Like whenever you have a screen, you're just consuming what's on there,
Right.
but it doesn't feed
The
you in
material
some way.
of the consumption
Right.
really matters.
And I do it myself.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
without question. Yeah.
But
But every kid is different. Every kid, just the cause and effect of the kids. Everything is different.
Yeah.
Screens might not be for one kid, but they might be for this kid. And this kid's not going to learn a damn thing on that screen, and this one might will. So
I feel like most people I know who served in the military have a special level of skepticism of government, as if they were almost too close to it, and they're like, "Oh, this doesn't work the way anyone thinks it works at all," and they're just naturally more skeptical and cynical, but with very valid reasons.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Especially when you see how it actually runs. You're like, okay.
Yep.
yeah,
All right.
Yeah.
Makes no sense.
yeah.
Well, and that's why I got out.
Yeah.
End of my 4 years, my uncle was like, "Okay,
Let's
let's
do the next
You
step."
ready?"
Yeah.
And I was like, "Nope, I'm
good.
done."
I've seen
Yeah.
enough.
Done.
I've seen enough.
And I blackballed. My family blacklisted me for a long time.
Yeah.
Really?
My uncle had done some. He did a lot for me.
Yeah.
To help shape my career.
And then you said no thanks.
And I said no.
Yeah.
I can't be part of this anymore. Here's a crazy thing about that, and this is why I say listen if the gods are trying to tell you something.
Yeah.
Because I didn't stay, and we flash forward to 9/11. The man who replaced my uncle, the plane that hit the Pentagon, slammed into his office.
Seriously?
He lost 18 friends that day, including the man who replaced him.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
So it was like 2 weeks after 9/11, my uncle called me. I hadn't spoken to him maybe a couple times, just in passing, really, at a family function. And he called me 2 weeks after 9/11, and he said, "Scotty, you made the right choice." And I was like, "Why is that?" And he goes, "Because you'd be dead.
You'd be dead right now.
Right now." Because and I was like, "Whoa, holy smokes!"
Yeah.
So it's crazy.
The universe said, don't do this anymore. And you said, all right, universe, I'm going to listen to you this time.
Plus, I thought I did 4 years and saw enough and experienced enough and had enough close calls that I was like, okay, I'm good.
Yeah.
I don't know if my luck can
You
hold.
used up all your 9 lives. And you're like, I don't get 10.
Yeah. And also, I read some books.
Mm-hmm.
Farewell to Arms.
Yeah, man.
Was a big... And my grandmother had sent that to me.
Oh, really?
When I was in the military, when I was overseas. I had asked her... My grandmother was kind of a mother hen to a lot of us. She would send these big packages, but she would ask me about like my other squad mates and stuff, and she would send stuff for them too. Amazing woman. But she sent me a book, so I was like, Grandma, I need a big book. Like, I can't read these paperbacks. So she sent me a Farewell to Arms.
Yeah.
But I think that she did that knowing what she had gone through with my grandfather and his PTSD.
Yeah.
My 2 uncles and their PTSD, and my father and his PTSD. I think that she gave me that to help with what she knew was coming.
Mm-hmm.
And she was absolutely right.
Yeah.
And I'm super glad that she did. And it also influenced me too about war.
Yeah.
And the toll that it takes. Because when you're there, you're just like,
This is my life.
This is great.
This is what I am. Yeah.
Watching millions of dollars worth of American taxpayer money, killing indigenous people. This is
Here we
life.
go.
Yeah.
But it's not until you get home that you like, oh, wow.
You reconcile.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The ghosts will come and visit you.
Yeah.
And I don't care who you are, how tough you think you are.
Yeah.
You hear these guys like, that's ridiculous. If you're a human being, it will affect you.
Yep. You read any Hemingway ever, Justin?
No.
Okay. If you want to feel sad, basically.
I know.
I
I
don't
know
know.
all of his stuff. All Quiet on the Western Front. Is that him?
No.
No?
But he has titles
Okay.
that are similar to that, like For Whom the Bell Tolls.
Very
That's
good
right.
one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sun
And all
Also
that.
Rises is
Sun Also
actually
Rises.
my,
Is that the
my favorite?
Is that the one where they're chasing the bull runs?
Right.
Yeah, yeah. And
Yeah.
they just are getting drunk across Europe the entire time.
Yeah, it's a book of, I felt, mortality.
Yeah.
A book of mortality and life's road,
Yeah.
where it can lead you.
Yeah.
But another On the Road
Yeah.
by Jack Kerouac.
Kerouac. Yep.
A huge influence in my life. And I spent the greater part of, after I got out of the service, traveling.
Mm-hmm.
I worked, taught skiing for a season and snowbird in Utah. Worked on a salmon or a shrimp boat in Charleston, South
So
Carolina.
you are Forrest Gump is basically.
Yeah, and then went and left the shrimp boat. His his brother was a skipper in Alaska.
Okay.
He'd called him and was like, "Hey, you got any hands? Come up to Alaska." And so I went up to Alaska, worked
Might as
season
well.
on a salmon seiner, and that was amazing.
Yeah.
Wound up at MTV
Yeah.
for close to 10 years.
Oh, cool.
And man, that was wow. I was like, I have arrived.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because as kids, we used to run home from
Oh,
school.
yeah.
And, like,
MTV.
flip
Yeah.
on MTV and call your friends and speakerphone. 4 hours doing
Yeah.
homework. Oh my God. See the new Poison video?
Yeah.
White Snake. Oh my God.
Yeah.
So what years were you at MTV?
Oh, that was 96 to 2005, 6.
Okay, so it was during the boy band era and TRL, yeah.
Yeah, well, so that was East Coast, and I was West Coast.
West Coast, okay.
Oh man, we always felt bad for the East Coast MTVers because it's 5 o'clock on the West Coast. It's 8 p.m. East Coast,
Oh, yeah.
and they'd have to stay as long as we were at work. They finally got done. They were like, "No, we're not doing it anymore. We're going to be here till 6, and that's it."
Yeah. So what did you do at MTV?
Started as a PA and worked up into production management and then into production finance.
Awesome.
Yeah, it was MTV transitioned a lot while I was there.
Yeah, I bet.
From like actually producing, like you came in with an idea, we're like, man, this is great. Let's make it together. Yeah. And we would make it together. Then it transitioned to, you have a great idea. Great. How much is it per episode? Great. Here's your money. Go make your episodes.
Huh.
And they would send somebody like me to just make sure that you're doing it the way that MTV wants it done.
Gotcha.
Versus it being a collaboration.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it kind of went downhill, honestly.
Yeah.
And I quit. I'm not going to name any projects, but I was asked to work on this project, and I was like, all right. And I went, and I was there for a week and called my boss and was like, hey, I'm on my way home. And he was like, whoa, we still got 2 more weeks. And I was like, they know what they're doing, but I can't be part of this anymore.
Justin.
Yes.
You should probably start wrapping it down or starting to close the episode.
Yeah. Man,
Just
Murph,
because
this has been
we could easily
an hour
talk
and
for
20
another
minutes.
hour and a half. And it's like,
Yeah.
no. Let's start.
We have families.
There's always some natural break where it's like, no, you could probably ask him like 20 more questions, but let's start wrapping the episode down. So you've listened to a couple episodes. How we always end them is we ask every guest the same 5 questions.
Uh-oh.
All right. Are you ready? First
Are
question.
these speed questions?
Are they what?
Are they speed questions?
No, you
No,
can take
no,
your time.
Take your
Okay,
time.
You
very
can
good.
take your time. Yeah.
Be thoughtful.
We talk fast, but you don't need to.
Did you have any backup names for your kids? Or for your kid?
No.
No?
No.
You just knew right off the bat?
We had talked about it. I think no, we didn't.
Really?
We do now, actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Like,
we do
what if
now.
we had gone with this?
Right.
Really? That's cool.
Well, we were talking about my wife's sister. She's getting ready to have her third child, and they were kicking around names, and they said Jameson, and I was like, oh.
That's it.
And Corbin was actually, our son was actually right there, and he was like, Jameson, I like it. We were like, oh. But no, we didn't. No.
Okay.
Gotcha.
What about, did you have a girl's name picked out if you wanted a girl?
We did.
Okay.
We did. I can't recall what it was. That's how much
okay.
I wanted a girl.
It's
first.
okay.
It was like, give me
I-
that boy. Next question. Do you have a favorite TV dad?
Oof, that's a tough one. I do have a favorite TV dad, but it would go back before I think anybody would know.
Oh, man.
We've had Andy Griffith as an answer
Yeah.
before.
Whoa.
So that's pretty. If
That-
you're going back further than Opie, that'd be impressive.
No, not going back that far. I do remember that one growing up, and that one, I was more like, That's like my uncle.
Yeah.
He's like my uncle. The way he talks. I can't remember. I can see it in my head, but I just can't remember the name of the show. I'll be honest. Cosby.
Yeah, no,
was a big one for me.
It's the most conflicted answer where he was very inspiring as a fatherhood figure.
Dude, he was great on the TV show.
As a character,
yeah.
Really good TV dad.
Yeah.
Now, in retrospect,
right. And it's so hard.
Yeah.
It is.
I mean, because like OJ, I grew up watching OJ Simpson play.
Yeah.
And like,
Yeah, that's true.
Those guys are awesome.
Yeah.
It's like,
And you're like,
geez.
not
Turned
so
out-
much. Yeah, pretty much.
All right, next question. Least favorite kid show?
Oh.
Does he watch a TV show that you're just like, no, not again?
No, not really.
Nice.
You know what? Blippy
Yeah.
is.
Yeah.
And only because I'm like, I feel for this guy. Like, imagine this guy.
This is his life now.
Right. I mean, and since he's been replaced.
Yeah, he
and
stepped away or whatever.
Right,
yeah.
right.
Oh,
'cause
he did?
Yeah.
Well,
I think.
Okay.
I would hope that you get to X financially and you're like, okay, I don't need to do this anymore.
Yeah.
Because I mean, I can't imagine that guy going like, I don't know, out to a bar or something. Like,
Hey, ladies.
walking in, everybody's like,
Blippy.
With,
Yeah.
with his original costume on
Yeah,
and
yeah.
suspenders, like, yeah.
I don't think it makes any difference if he had him on or not.
It's more, at
Like-
some point in time, it becomes a character and not a person.
Yeah.
Or like I feel like Miss Rachel is Miss Rachel. Like she can't really do anything besides Miss Rachel. I
Yeah.
feel like.
You know what though? Man, she comes in a very close second.
Does she really?
She really does.
Did you watch him? Did you watch her a lot? Because I feel like she helps with like speech patterns and stuff a lot.
You know, Corbin didn't. We tried her a lot.
Yeah.
And he liked some of the songs, but honestly, I think he found her quite annoying.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's funny.
He has this thing. Like, we went to Disney. You know, I'm sorry, I'm getting off on this
No, you're
thing.
good. Yeah,
We'll get
no,
back to your
this is
question.
also this is some side tangents too. You're good.
But like, we're at Disney, and he loves characters in their costumes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But not in the like costumes. When I say like their wardrobe, not
Yeah.
the costumes.
Yeah.
Like
Not
when
where like
right,
the
they have
Mickey
the
Mouse.
fake head on.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, he knows the difference. He'll come up and be like, "Oh, no. You're just a person in a
Yeah,
thing."
yeah.
He's like, "Get away from me." But if they're in the costume,
He doesn't like mascots, but he likes like people who are interesting.
yes,
Oh,
he
dude,
finds.
that makes sense.
But he likes the mascots that are appropriately sized. So like the fake, like the you know the plastic
Okay.
ones that are in the parks totally relates to those.
Okay.
But the big,
Yeah.
he's like, no, stay away from me. I know you're just a person in a costume.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're
crazy.
lying to me. You're not really Winnie the Pooh.
It's
Get out of here.
I like that he knows that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's fun.
Kind of cool.
Yeah. Next question. Favorite kids' toy or activity? Like when Corbin plays with it, you enjoy playing with it also, or activity you like doing with them also?
Oh man, probably. I really enjoy Get You.
What's that?
Get You. He's like, get me. I'm like, you want me
yeah.
to get you?
Yeah.
And he runs like the bed is the big one for him. He'll run on one side of the bed, and I'll run to the other side. And just before he gets there, he'll jump up on the bed and run over to the other side.
Yeah,
I'm like,
yeah.
Dang it.
You got me. You won again.
Yeah. And he's like, get me. I'm like, dude, I just tried. And I'll do it. And then I'll be like, oh, and I'll show him like super exhausted. And he's
Yeah.
like, Dada, one more time, get me. I'm like, okay. And I'll run around, and he lets me get it.
That's
Yeah.
funny. That's really cute.
Yeah, he's super intellectual like
Yeah.
that. Really intellectual like that. I think that I've never spoken to him in a baby voice. Been like, "Ooh, Corbin, do boo." I'm not.
Yeah.
one, that's not how I'm programmed,
Yeah.
and B, I think it's patronizing.
Mhm.
I've always spoken to him like a little
Right.
man, little
Yeah.
dude.
Like it. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that he appreciates that. And it's also it helps with discipline. He
Mhm.
can tell my tone. And it's funny because my wife's like, I'm going to try that next time. I'm like, okay. And then she tries it and he just laughs.
Oh, no.
She thinks he's like putting a mouth on. And I'm like, baby, you need tone. She's like, I can't do tone. I'm like, then I'll
discipline.
be
I'll do
bad
it.
cop.
I'll do
okay?
it.
So
That's
I am.
Awesome. All right. Next question. Moment of your kid's life you are most excited to be a part of.
Wow. That's a really hard one to say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a hard one to put down. And I'm getting emotional thinking about it because I heard this quote the other day and it has just stuck with me. And it was, children they have no concept of time. They don't know
Yeah.
what a month or a year or something like that is. Every single day is their entire life.
Mhm.
So just be present in that. And it stuck with me so much. And so every day is, I love to experience with him, especially in these years
Yeah.
when, like, God, just the other day, woke up a little smarter than he was the day before.
Yeah.
He came in and he was like, Dad, I'm still tired. I was like, you just woke up? He's like, I know. And I'm like, buddy, that's called drowsiness. He's like, drowsy. I don't like it. And it's just like,
That's awesome.
welcome to life.
Yep. Such is life.
Yes.
Awesome.
So every day,
Yeah. Pretty much. Yeah.
every day.
Yeah.
I like that answer.
Because I'll still see every day. Even when I'm not on this earth, I'll still be with him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And so I'll still get to see those things. But I don't want to see him go to prison.
Yeah.
You know, that'd be the better answer.
Way to go, son.
Way to go,
Right.
son. You were framed. Well, moment for self-promotion. Do you want to like promote your Instagram if anyone wants to like follow you or like reach out to you, anything like that?
I'm not really
Cool. That's what I thought. We'll
I-
tag you like in the post when we do it on Instagram and all that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
most of my it's just dad crap.
us too.
Like
Yeah?
I just like my Facebook is all political
Yeah.
rantings and whatnot, but my Instagram is it's at Murphimus.
Okay.
So but
Murphimus.
But it's all just dad stuff and like
Cute videos of your kid, all that good
yeah. Or like my reels are just like cool things that I see other people.
Yeah.
Like mostly like airplanes and crap.
stuff. Oh,
Yeah, I'm pretty boring.
that's
I don't
fun.
know. People like, yeah, it's fun. I like my tribe will come up and be like, dude, I just love your reels. Like if I'm just having a crappy day, I just
I'll
go to
watch your reels.
I'm like, you have cool stuff.
Maybe, who knows? Follow the post. Find us on Instagram. Find Murph from there. Watch some reels. Have some cuteness in your day.
Dude, this was fun.
Yeah,
Yeah,
man. Thanks so
man.
much for
Yeah,
coming
This is
I
on.
want to
awesome.
come back and do this
Yeah,
again, man.
let's do
Really
it.
appreciate it, man.
I got a whole nother second half
we
of
got
my
a whole
life, man.
this was book 1 of book
Yes.
of 10
Yeah.
realistically.
We'll definitely
Yeah, I
have you
can tell
back
you
on.
some stories.
The
from
trials of Murph.
fishing in Alaska.
Yeah. No, there's clearly we need the full Forrest Gump story basically.
Yes.
Thanks, Murph.
Thank you, man.
Thanks again for listening. Make sure to follow us on Instagram at the Nashville Dads and to subscribe to us on Apple and Spotify podcast. We record at New Light Podcast Studio and episodes are produced by me, Devin.